It all began with Germany needing a fast start. Remember, they were bottom of this group. But boom, they got it when Gnabry, 10 minutes from the start, Lynsey, rewarded their efforts.
He did. And moments before that, Muller had a chance with a header, and everyone thought that should have gone in. Just a minute later, Gnabry, his header, potentially an even harder one to score, actually. But it was such a frenetic start from Germany. They were front-footed. They had so many chances, hardly spoke about Costa Rica in this first 15 minutes or so.
Costa who? So the thing was, they still needed Spain to score, but literally a minute later, Alvaro Morata,
an assist from Azpilicueta, lovely ball in, and that was a header.
All sorts of other things have been happening. You'd had a big chance for Costa Rica through that Keisha Fuller. Also, Jamal Musiala had been wowing you. You were particularly impressed, Lynsey.
Oh, Musiala, I think he's been one of the standouts, and it's such a shame that he's now going home. But for Germany, one of the things that you notice for this is the game here compared to Sunday, he was in a more advanced position, so they'd moved him centrally behind Muller. Whereas in the previous game, in the setup of 4-2-3-1, he was on the left-hand side, wasn't he? But he was moved central, and it suited him. So it's a shame we don't get to see him in that position again.
We had 24 touches in the opposition box in that game, which is a World Cup record. I mean, yeah, again, it doesn't help. I mean, this is one of those weird games where they did actually win 4-2. It is a win, but it's not a win, is it?
No. And he hit the post twice in the second half.
Half-time, it was Germany and Spain who were going through. But straight after the second half begins, oh my goodness, Japan have just equalised.
Yes, this was Ritsu Doan, who was one of the substitutes who came on. This is the 48th minute. It all came from brilliant pressure from Japan, chasing down a ball, applying pressure to Simon in the goal for Spain. And Simon could have done better, I think, in both situations. He could have cleared better, but he also, when the goal came, I think he could have done better with getting hands to it, but he didn't. You look at the finish, though, Ritsu Doan peels away. The celebrations, James. This is why we love World Cups, because you get those close-up shots of the Japan fans. They're going crazy, and we were lapping it up. This is when you started to lose it a little.
If it wasn't then, it was just moments later when Japan, unthinkably, the team who had lost to Costa Rica, playing the team who had beaten Costa Rica 7-0, took the lead.
Yeah, the rule of three again. Like 3 minutes after they equalised, they went ahead. Some controversy over this goal.
Right.
So, ball was it over the line? Again, you know, incidents that have reared their head in World Cups before, sometimes involving Germany. Now, there were a lot of angles.
It was Matoma, wasn't it, that played this ball back?
Yeah, he hooked it back from right on the touchline. Now, it's a really fool's errand to sort of take snapshots from TV angles and put them on Twitter, I think, because you can't tell. There is an overhead that shows the ball isn't across the line, which I think is probably I've played enough kickoff too to realise that overhead is the best way to enjoy football. So I think it's actually perfectly legitimate, but, obviously...
Depends which angle you see, doesn't it?
Well, no, if you see an angle which makes it...
Yeah.
I mean, it's empirical almost,
Yeah,
no?
yeah. I think it's absolutely fine. But.
It wouldn't have been the only one of the night that had crossed a line in these two matches.
Really? What was the other one then?
I'm afraid it was Stephanie Frappart.
Early on.
Yeah.
Early on when the ball went over by about a foot. I mean, no goal was involved.
It should have been a corner.
Point. Should have been a corner. That's so true. Where have we got to? Anyway, oh my goodness, Japan are now winning. They are topping the group. So after an hour, though, Costa Rica decide, hey, this looks like fun. We're going to pitch in with a goal of our own. Kendall Watson roars forward, fires a header at Neuer. He can only parry it back into the path of Yeltsin Tejeda, who scores, and Costa Rica are level, which means that it's now Japan and Spain who are going through to the last 16. Germany absolutely need a goal. Musiala hits the post. Then, oh my goodness, Rudiger hits the post. Spain, meanwhile, what's happening with Spain?
Well, they've come out for the second half and...
Switched off.
Well, they're having a nice little evening, knocking the ball around. They didn't have a shot until the 74th minute. And it was a weird one because as the game went on, it was less and less important that they scored, yet they started to have more and more shots. I don't know if Luis Enrique was playing some sort of advanced 4D chess, but I couldn't work it out.
Well, I must admit, I was puzzled at first why Spain seemed unconcerned about being behind to Japan. But then when we worked out the fact that with that result, Germany could do nothing, even winning against Costa Rica, they could do nothing unless they beat them by 7 clear goals.
Yeah, because, well, they needed 6 more goals at least, didn't they? Did they need 7 in order to go above them?
At
It's a
points.
game of opinions,
Yeah.
really, isn't it?
I mean, again, and this is where you can't make these judgments because the World Cup's so random, and we've seen that in the last couple of days. But coming second in Group E kind of looks slightly better. Like if you come top, you go probably Croatia, then Brazil, then Argentina. That's a tricky run. Whereas coming second, you got Morocco, and now we know that Morocco are a good team, and we shouldn't underestimate them. But then possibly Portugal in the quarters if you get past that.
But do you genuinely think Spain were aiming for second spot in the group?
Well, I wouldn't have, but they did. They were fairly relaxed in that.
If they were, they are great actors as well because they had that flurry
El Dorado.
towards the end. They just managed to stage a moment of about 5 or 6 minutes where they peppered the goal a little bit more than they had to convince me that maybe they weren't as aware. Duncan's not as convinced.
Right.
Yeah, well, Danny Olmo had about 3 shots in the last 10 minutes, so maybe he was more like Danny. Oh no, we're going to go out of the World Cup, but it was fine. It was one of the most bizarre endings to a group I've seen because nothing could change unless Germany mustered a lot of goals in no time, and yet some of the players knew, probably some didn't.
I mean, from Germany's point of view, if Spain had scored an equaliser against Japan, then they would have been through because their goal difference with Japan was pretty minimal, the difference there, or I think even better. But in the meantime, I mean, there's a bunch of other goals we haven't got onto yet. Costa Rica equalised, which is unthinkable.
Yeah.
If they score another one, then they'll be going through. Costa Rica, the team who started the World Cup losing 7-0 to Spain, would be going through with another goal. And then they get another goal. They're 2-1 up.
They are. And spare a thought for Vargas because there was a VAR check for Vargas's goal. But it hasn't been given to him. It's a Neuer own goal that it's been logged down as.
Anyway, after that,
He
Germany
doesn't even get that moment.
Germany sweep forward. They've got your friend Fulkrug on at this point. And
54 minutes he came on.
Right. Well, they end up scoring, 3 goals at this point. End up winning 4-2, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. And after getting through every single first round from 1954 to 2014, in 2018 and now 2022, Germany have failed to get out of the group. They've won, in the last 2 World Cups, they've won as many games as Australia, which isn't great.
Wow. So whatever Spain did, there's that. It was extraordinary, that finale, watching Germany, realising that they had to win, but even so, there was nothing they could do about it unless they beat Costa Rica 9-2. And they did have a go.
We saw plus 10 minutes come up for added time and we got excited for a moment. But it wasn't a night for some Germany players. I thought Leroy Sané didn't have a great game. I thought his decision-making was off at times. He went for shots when he shouldn't have done, didn't do the correct pass at times. Because there were so many more opportunities for goals. If we add up all the ones that hit the post and the ones that on Duncan's radar of XG should have been high, then I think that there's every chance they could have got those 6 goals.
Well, Germany set a new XG record of over 6 XG in a single game. In fact, they've ended the group stage. Obviously, there's 2 groups to finish tomorrow, but as it stands, they have got the best or the highest XG in the group stage, which, is that a real trophy? Maybe it should be because it's something to hold on to. But it's the defence, as Raf was saying, that's the big issue. I think that's 12 tournament games now in a row. They haven't kept a clean sheet, and that's what's cost them.
And summing up this whole Group E watching experience with you both, I felt like, when you've got some spare change in your pocket, you're just carrying it around. It's been there for ages, some old coppers, maybe an old button in there, and someone asks you for some change and you spill it out and you spill out the best coins and you think, oh no, they're going to go. £2 coins falling out here. That's what happened.
Okay. Duncan, you likened it to a dog trying to open a door. I'm not sure which analogy is better.
Yeah, like a dog wants to come in. It has no idea how to open the door, but it knows what it wants.
And that's Germany trying to get out of the group.
Yeah. They could see the food of progress through the window, but they couldn't get through it.